Hello there, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, all you're getting today is a a photo of John Wick. Um, this is the plan. I'm just gonna call this. It depends how long it goes on, but call this kind of like a mini podcast review of a film. But it's just me. Um, you don't have to obviously watch the screen. You can just game and listen to me ramble about a new movie I saw. I've seen 4 movies this month, and I want to talk about all of them. Um, Unfortunately, the newest one will be easier to talk about the longest, so this will probably be the longest one. Um, you never know what will happen. I think they're all going to be in the separate videos. But anyway, I've spent a minute telling you how the videos are going to be when I should just be talking about the movie itself. So anyway, yesterday it was not a plan. I happened to go to my nearest city, and I ended up getting saying that I'll go and see John Wick, and sit down, and then unfortunately I got these two guys that sat right next to me. When I booked the ticket, that wasn't the case. Like there was no one next to me. But these guys booked it. Must have, all the just was sitting there, because I thought they still had the rule where you couldn't sit next to anybody. If there's a gap, you couldn't fill in that gap. But whatever. And anyway, the sit next to me immediately start talking through the story, start the film, but they shut up. But this guy next to me, he had his notifications and like his entire phone volume on full blast. It was very obnoxious, like how loud it was, and like he was getting Snapchats and WhatsApps and all sorts of other stuff, like just loud dinging and all that, all the way through the film. And at the end, I didn't want to start anything because he was sitting right next to us. But at the end of the film, it's like the dramatic end, and he's just like, it just goes off like a dozen times. And I just say to him, "Oh, can you turn the sounds off?" And he just like looks at me as if he's like like he's like the innocent one, like he's the wounded animal. He's like, "Oh, sorry," and then he puts it away, puts his phone away. Didn't turn any of the sounds off. He just puts it away. And he was recording videos and taking photos all the way through the movie. And yes, every time he took a photo, it made the shutter sound, like taking the photo sound on a mobile, very loudly. And I was right next to him, so it was like blasted my ear. He was looking at his phone constantly through the movie, and obviously it's a dark room, and he didn't even put the brightness down, so it was just blasting in my eyes. I'm sensitive to light in any way, because of a condition I have. So like it's fucking even worse for me, but it'd be bad for anybody in a dark room. And yeah, he was just an absolute prick. And then if you told him like to do something politely, just he acts like the victim. So he's a twat, and I didn't know that there was an end credit scene, that I had missed. But yeah, I missed the end credit scene because I've read about it. I know what it is now, but I missed the end credit scene because I just wanted to get away from these guys because they were the biggest cunts ever in the cinema. Uh, they should be banned from cinemas the way they behave. It's literally just before the movie comes on, it says, "Oh, don't watch the movie." Sorry, don't watch the movie. Don't like have your phone on while the movie because think of other people around you. And this dickhead just didn't care. So what do you think of the first 5 minutes intro and then talking about my cinema experience? So now we're gonna get on to the actual film. So I've seen John Wick 1 to 3, and then I was a bit bored of John Wick 3. I didn't really enjoy that as much, but I'll have to rewatch it. But John Wick 4 is just it's absolutely beautiful. The action in this movie is like the best action that I've ever seen in a movie. Um, it's just so impressive. Like they very clearly put like so much work into just into all the combat and like it's just so impressive. Um, so props to them for that. So basically, it continues after the third one. I don't know how much time's passed, but John Wick has been training and recovering from getting shot and falling down a roof on the third one. Spoilers, by the way, for this whole movie. Um, and then I thought it might have been I thought it might have been a flashback. But the Morpheus like says, "Oh, here's a suit. Are you ready?" And then John Wick, Keanu Reeves, really bad acting, goes, "Yeah," and he says, "Yeah," for like even like 10 times through the movie, and it's really fucking funny. And then at one point, like a other character like says that back to him, and I was like, oh, like I don't know, it was just I couldn't take that seriously, especially with his acting. Such a lovable guy. He's great. I love to see him in movies, but he cannot act to save his life. And it's amazing that he has such a big career. Um, but anyway, it's just because he's so likable, isn't it? But anyway. And anyway, so it immediately goes to this scene in the desert. It doesn't seem to be very connected to anything. It just all of a sudden, and it's in the trailers. He's on a horse, and he shoots these guys, and then he stops conveniently. By the looks of it, conveniently, where he got killed the final guy, it was just as he was gonna pass. It was just as he was gonna pass this guy that was waiting for him. So if he didn't shoot that guy, he would have ran past that. If he didn't shoot the final guy on the horse, he would have been unable to get to his target. Like he would have passed him, and then would have to turn around and get back to him. So it's very, very convenient. He killed the last guy just as he reached his destination. It's like very convenient for him. So anyway, he gets to this guy and he says, basically he wants to get him a guffin, and he's like, no, there's no stopping this. They're all coming for you. It's like, yeah, this has been happening since like the second film, like where the third and fourth film is about this. Like him, every assassin is after him. And it's like, yeah, you fucked. You don't have a ticket or whatever. You don't have whatever it is. You don't have a crest. You don't belong there. You're fucked basically. And then so John Wick then well it kind of like just like then John Wick's forgotten, and you then go to the actor who was in Game of Thrones and was, I'm not really good with remembering actors' names, so I'm not really good at remembering names in general. But the guy who played we Mr. Manager, but he also played Blackbeard in Pirates of the Caribbean 4. But Mr. Manager and the concierge get told to evacuate the hotel because they because they helped John Wick, and he's like, well, I did shoot him, but they're like, yeah, but you shot him, and you shot him, and he didn't die, so you obviously didn't shoot the kill, so no, that isn't good enough. Which makes sense because like they don't seem like a dumb, like the table doesn't seem dumb, so they're like, right, you will know what you did. You just shot him to. Bear in mind, you've got armor on, so yeah, that's not good enough. We'll know that you're friends with him. So like, they destroyed the hotel that we've seen for 3 movies. We'll see a bit of the fourth one, so this has been an iconic building that has been keep going now. That is destroyed, and then you think Mr. Manager's gonna die, but no, the concierge it gets murdered. And I thought by Pennywise, and I thought, wow, that I was like, I know that this actor just died, and I've seen him in a bunch of things. He just pops up, and I was like, oh, it'd be really good to see him like act in this like kind of like, I don't know if it's the last. I know he's in Hellboy, then this the new game that's coming out. But I was like, oh, this will be really good to like see him like kind of send off, say he's like impressive acting just before this is like a send off to him. No. He dies like in the like right at the start of the film, and then that's it. And it's like, oh, okay, this actor just didn't, and it's not the movie's fault. I just said what I wanted. So anyway, that happens, and obviously now Mr. Manager wants revenge. I'm calling Mr. Manager because that's what they call him in the movie. I think it's a stupid name, but um, he wants revenge now from the actor who played Pennywise, and Mr. fucking Krabs is in the movie. Mr. Krabs is in the movie, and it's hilarious. Like, I just can't take that seriously, even though Clancy Brown. He's a great actor. That he has, like, he could be in anything he wants. He's a great actor, but I will obviously forever see him as Mr. Krabs. But he seems to just be appearing more and more. Like, I mean, he's like, I'm seeing him in more and more. Like, it seems to be I'm watching like this, like, I don't know. He's like probably been in loads of things that I haven't seen yet, but like he's been in my line of view like a lot lately, and he's just appeared at everything. Obviously, I like didn't realize that Mr. Krabs was in the Flash, even though I've seen that a lot, and I've rewatched it at the start of this year and end of December, and I was like, oh, there he is. But anyway, because I realised who he was now. And anyway, then you go to Japan, and there's this hotel. Sorry if I miss anything. And then there's this hotel, and it's like another hotel. It's like the same thing, like a refuge for assassins. I think it is. It's like they're all like, it's very like high fantasy John Wick. It's like it's in no high fantasy. Is it like elves and shit? But like all these assassins have all these fancy buildings and all this stuff, and there's like a ridiculous amount of assassins and stuff. And anyway, so you get this long scene developing these characters. You see all like how it works. You get introduced to this guy with a dog, which he's an important part of the film. And then gets the Japanese manager. He goes up. So I'll say Mr. Manager is the New York manager, and I'll say that and I'll say the Japanese manager is the manager. Yeah. Anyway, so goes up to the roof, and John Wick standing there, and have a conversation. It's their loyal friends. You're seeing a bit of like the part. You don't see anything, but you hear about it. This guy in John Wick all like friends, close friends that haven't seen each other in a while. This is like another thing of John Wick's past. So anyway, oh sorry, I think before that you see this blind guy. Sorry, I was trying to do this in order, but you see this blind guy, and he's like looking at this girl. He's got the same girl in this like locket, and it's like, oh, what's going on here? And it turns out he's not allowed to see his daughter, and he's being told like he's basically getting controlled by the table. He has to keep like assassinating people for them, no matter who it is, and if he doesn't, he'll kill them. It's implied that like John Wick did something. This is his fault, or at least it's his fault that he's in this position that he has to kill John Wick, or his daughter dies, and like the friends have to fight friends. And so John Wick, sorry. So basically, long story short, Pennywise says, right, you have to kill John Wick, and that's the scene. Nothing wrong with that. It's an interesting scene. He's blind though, and I was like, oh, and I thought they were gonna do it where like they were just gonna like make him so, oh, look how impressive he is. He just knows where everything is, even though he's blind. Why he's like so trained. No, like you see him like he has to touch something. Like there's like, I don't know. I think they had. When like there's stuff on a tray for him, he like touches the tray and then gets the item. He does that with a drink. He does that with I think the card to say who. I don't know if the guy had it or just like it was on a tray. I can't remember now, but it was like the card for the who to kill, and he does that. It's later said that like. They say, oh, I'm sorry that the table took your eyes. He said, no, they were given. Like, the Punisher, like, they do this with the guy with the dog later on. Like, oh, if you don't injure yourself in this way, then we'll kill you, basically. And they made the guy, like, pull the knife out of his hand. Rather than pulled his hand out of the knife rather than pull the knife out of his hand. So anyway, that is basically all I can say about that scene. Like, I really like how they do the blind guy. He's not like, I was like, oh, we're gonna get like a Daredevil, even though he's not meant to have superpowers, this guy. So we're gonna have like a Daredevil where he's like totally knows where everything is. But no, like, he does things where he puts out these, like, devices on things and, like, they make a doorbell noise when enemies are near, and then he just, like, shoots where the sound is and attacks where the sound is. He totally, like, relies on sound to, like, know where to lash out, and he he has to tap things and feel out where things are to be able to attack. And, like, you can totally see that, like, he is, like, like, he is, like, a blind guy. It's not like, oh, he's just like, oh, that, it's not like, oh, this is just, like, a gimmick. Like, as in, like, oh, he's blind and that's how badass he is because he knows where everything is. Like, he is actually, like, like, he does act like a blind guy. Like, he has to use stuff at his advantage, like I said, the doorbell thing and stuff like that. It's really good. And like, people tell him later on, like, oh, there's, John Wick goes, oh, there's, like, a few guys in front of you. I can't remember how many. And he says, so I would say, he said a few. There's stuff like that, like, But anyway, back to the Japanese manager. They talk. Oh, you establish he's got a daughter, and his daughter isn't impressed because, like, you know, we're in danger now because John Wick's here, because he's destroying, like, the Pennywise is destroying, like, any hotel, anything that's connected to John Wick, and so anyway, John Wick. So anyway, like, John Wick and Japanese manager have a chat, and then it's like, oh, the table's here. They go down, have a chat, and he's like, yeah, he's not here. And anyway, they have a fight, and you see the blind guy and Japanese manager the chat before the fight, and they go like, oh, I haven't seen you in a long time, and the blind guy goes, well, yeah, but we're friends. I don't want us to fight. I've got to do this for family. And, like, this is all, and like, it's not like, oh, you know, you do have a choice. It's not that bullshit that's in movies. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. I know what it's like. It establishes that, like, it's such an easy way without like the characters actually proper, like, needing to go, oh yeah, I know that like, you know, it doesn't, like, a character go, I know that the table does this, and it goes on a speech. It's not. It's just like, oh, are you doing this for family? He's like, yeah, family. And it's like, it just knows, you just know straight away that the Japanese manager knows that the table's done this, that the table has, you know, he's doing this for family because the table has the blind guy's family, like, his daughter, like, attacked, sorry, like, she's in danger. So establishes that, like, yeah, everyone knows what these do, especially, like, the Japanese. They know what a table's like, so it kind of, like, establishes that, like, these people are under the everybody's under the table's thumb, basically, and a lot of people have just put up with it, but I think a lot of people, especially in John Wick's corner, want to be, like, kind of out of their environment, but they're just living it. And anyway, it's all about. There's a lot of this film is getting out of that world, trying to escape that world. Because John Wick never wanted to be in it. He wanted to retire, but it's all about, like, yeah, how can you escape this world if they're not wanting to, you know, yeah. Anyway, so big fight happens, and basically, so again, you don't see John Wick for ages, and it's like Japanese guy fighting, and then it's like with all his men and their men, and then it's like such a big fight. And oh, hello, Maisie, you wanna contribute to this video? And then there's just like a really big fight, and the daughter gets involved with, like, she goes to John Wick and goes like, right, they're here because of you, this is your fault. And then she like takes off her, like, robes and, like, reveals, like, this, like, leather, like, Matrix suit, and she takes out a blade or something, or arrows or something, I can't remember, and I think it's bow and arrow or whatever, and she goes, oh, and she does, like, a flashy thing with her weapon, and she goes, do you have a weapon? And then John Wick, like, quickly, like, takes out a pistol and tries to do, like, the fancy, like, technique with that they were doing, and it just looks silly. Like, he takes it out and goes, yeah. And I thought that was funny. I don't think it was meant to be. It was meant to be awesome. But then immediately people show up, and then John Wick shooting. But eventually he just gets forgotten, and the main focus is on this this girl, and or the dad, and like, John Wick is barely the focus, and, like, bear in mind, this is, I don't know how long this film's been going on, this but like 20 minutes, maybe more, and John Wick is, like, barely in the focus, and it's just all set up. But eventually that fight ends, and he's like, you know, the daughter's injured, the the Japanese dad's injured, the manager's injured. I mean, and they're like, right, just leave, get on this. You'll be safe passage through if you get on the metro. And it's like, oh, okay. And sorry, my cat's going mental behind us. She's going zoomies. But anyway, so then you get the full thing of John Wick fighting, and it goes on for ages, and it's great, just really good fighting. Then the blind guy shows up, they fight, and then just as like it's a really good thing where John Wick like has to be quiet, and in between the fight, the say information, like you get like exposition and backstory, and anyway, yeah, it establishes that they're friends and all that. And anyway, I think they've already said they were friends when he got assigned to this mission, but it's like an acknowledgement of it more. You get a bit more information in the scene. And there's a bit where John Wick is just trying to be absolutely still, but he wants to get the weapon quickly, and he's lying on glass, so it makes a noise. The guy thinks that John's dead, but then obviously... So I want to say this about this movie, because I think it's funny where before the blind guy starts fighting like anybody, way before John Wick, he's like just sitting eating noodles. And it's like, they're like, well, can you do your job, please? And then he eats it, and as he's still chewing, as he's like doing this whole like fight. He's like, I really like the fighting where they're like, people like, he'll scramble on the floor, and he'll like, it's not like this super fancy fighting like way it is. Do that. But like with the fighting, there's like I said, he'll like be on his hands and knees, probably crawling around. There's a lot of people where like they're facing enemy, but they're on their arse, and they're like scrambling around, and people are not everybody's just constantly on the feet, and it's like always like, oh, I'll get up and then fight. It's like scrambling and like trying to like people are. It's not like in a lot of movies where people are just like people just stop to let the other person get up. Like these enemies will continue to approach. It will continue to approach and attack their enemy while the guy's on the floor, and so they'll like be scrambling and trying to like scramble to get away, and like on their hands and knees if they're falling over, and it's really, really good. It's such like realistic and like great fighting. It's I absolutely adored that you see like the less like see, honestly, it's like it's less like the Hollywood fighting. It's way more like from a real like intense, dirty fighting. Like like I said, like not everyone's always on their feet, and like you don't just like a lot of the guys just don't immediately just get up after they get knocked down. Like on their hands and knees and trying to get out of the way before they get up, rather than just get up, because why would the guys just let the guy get up? So it's like, yeah, they gotta like kind of get out of the way before they can stand again, because they'll just get attacked while they're trying to stand up otherwise. I really love that. And so anyway, the blind guy is like fighting John Wick, and then the guy with a dog shoots them, and they're like, oh, it's like, it seems like he's shooting John Wick, but it's kind of like he's trying to separate them, and then eventually says, yeah, he meets John Wick, and even though I didn't get this, because John Wick's fighting people, there's like several guys that are trying to attack him, and they're in this garden, and there's like there's several guys, and like John Wick fights one, and then the others just don't seem to appear, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm guessing the guy with the dog killed them, but I don't know. But anyway, he shows up, and like he's like, John Wick's like, I don't know you, and he's like, well, I'm nobody, and this is what the guy, I'm gonna call Mr. Nobody, because that's what he's called in the film. He's like, it's a guy with a dog. He's now guy with a dog's been called Mr. Nobody, by the way. So that's what I'm calling him. I don't think he says. You don't think he's called Mr. Nobody yet, but anyway, that's what he is. I remember that. So anyway, um, he says that like, oh, it looks like we're working together now, and then John Wick's like, but then he leaves. John Wick leaves, and it's because he wants the money to. He helped John Wick there because he wants to kill John Wick, but he wants the money to go up first, and he wants to make a deal with the table with Pennywise, and that's how the hand thing happens. Because like the table's like, no, it's not how this works. Like you don't. We like, everyone's under the table. You do, you if you want to make a deal, we'll make it so the deal is not is like, your choices aren't going to be very good. It's like we'll take a life, but it's either you take the life we've told you to, or we take your life. So if they're that like deadly and threatening, why don't they just take? It's like, oh well, we'll just take your life. It's like, well, be the same thing where you're on the run and then you have to do a John Wick. But anyway, so the blind guy kills Japanese manager, and I kind of like just briefly mention some stuff because this is gonna be like a 2-hour fucking video at this rate. And so anyway, so John Wick reaches the train, and then the daughter shows up. And by the way, the fight scene with Japanese guy and blind guy is really impressive, and it was such a fun fight scene. And it shows like that Japanese guy was the manager. Japanese manager was very loyal to John Wick, and it's like it's kind of thing in the movie where it's like, oh, I've got a debt to pay because of a token or whatever. Eddie says, and Japanese manager says, loyalty isn't just about tokens. Like debts aren't just with tokens or tickets. Sorry, whatever he says. He says that like debts can, also like or like he just says debts aren't just that. And it's like, oh, he's got like a very old friendship. He says that anyway. He's had a strong friendship with John Wick before even before his daughter was alive. It's like a lot older than his daughter. So like he says that he's very loyal to John Wick, and he says like he's a debt to pay for him. He owes a lot to John Wick, I'm guessing, and doesn't have to go into it. It's just like, to have a strong friendship, and he defended John Wick but the thing is, they established that he's shot, so he can't fight as well as the blind guy, and that's how he dies. But he says to the door, "Oh, I'll see you later," or I'll be waiting for you," because he knows that she will want revenge. He understands that is what's gonna happen, because he knows that it will just continue a cycle of revenge. Anyway, what happens is she was gonna kill him, but he's like, no. He's like, don't, just live. But he says, I'll be waiting for you. And she's like, is angry, and she's injured. So in a way, he's like, yeah, get your strength back, and then if I know you'll want revenge. So, and anyway, basically, she says, you've got to kill him, or I'm gonna kill him, to John Wick when they get on the train together. She just shows up at the train. That must have been a canny hard journey for her, but whatever. And John Wick just goes, I understand. Again, amazing acting. I can't even remember what the fuck happened next. Sorry if I miss anything. Let's just say John Wick ends up back in New York, and he tells, like, he gets exposition from Mr. Manager, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, what happened?" To the guy, to the concierge, and they're like, "Well, you can have 1v1 trial by combat like Game of Thrones, but you need to go to your family and get your ticket or whatever. You need to basically be back into a family of assassins, so you'll be allowed to fight. That's the rules of the table." And so he goes on a little adventure. He meets his sister. Turns out some big fat guy with golden teeth killed his dad. So she's like, she's gonna kill him, hang him, because like your dad's dead because of you. They've killed your dad because they couldn't kill you. So they were like, right, we'll kill one of a member of his family. And anyway, they're like, right, John Wick's like, "Oh, I can free the family under the thumb of the table if I do the 1v1. And they're like, "All right then, well, you have to kill, but to show you're not going in this family just like that, you have to kill the guy who killed our dad." So that's what he does. He goes to the guy. There's this, what's he's called again? There's this hilarious guy where he just does he's basically I am Gruten, but instead of saying I am Groot, he goes, "I am Klaus," and it's very fucking funny. And he's like got a lisp or something because he's got loads of fucking piercings in. Cause I am Klaus, and John Wick goes, "I'm John," and he replies of, "I am Klaus," and then anyway, people were laughing at that in the cinema. And anyway, I was like, what the fuck? And then you think, oh, he's just like, I didn't realize straight away that that's the only thing he could say. But then like he starts punching him, and then it's like meant to be that he's meant to look like he's this is a problem I have with the movie. When people are punched, and like, there's a little bit where John Wick starts punching this fat guy, and he punches him like 30-40 times, and the guy is he has no mark on his face. He's like, all the punches do nothing. They don't put like intense. It's not like it's not like yeah, it was called Nobody. It's not like Nobody where like fucking people's faces get more and more absolutely destroyed as they're fighting. It's not like really on top like that. Where you see more and more injuries, like people are getting punched in the face and there's not even like a nosebleed. I really didn't like that about the film. But anyway, John. No, sorry, where was that? Yeah, so he gets punched in the face, but you can't even fucking tell. And I thought that was weird because he's meant to look like he's injured and he's been beaten up and he's been captured. But anyway, he goes to this fat guy that's at like a gambling table, and the guy, the blind guy is there as well, and also they show up, and also the Mr. Nobody, he shows up as well. Don't get it mistaken with the film I just said. That's called Nobody, by the way. I'm not talking about that anymore. But Mr. Nobody's there. And anyway, he's like, yeah, I killed your dad, but it wasn't personal. And he goes, well, it is personal, but whatever. This big fat purple guy, the guy in the purple suit, I'll just call him Chungus. So Chungus is like, well, we'll play a card game. and it's like I'll decide who all three of us want to kill John Wick, and we'll play to see who gets to kill him. And John Wick's playing, I guess, to like not get killed. And the whole thing is, yeah. This is a scene, by the way, where the blind guy like has to like grab a drink awkwardly because he's blind, so he touches the plate it's on, and then touches it to see the platter that it's on, and then touches the drink, which I liked. It doesn't say all like you just could basically see he's that good. He just fucking knows where cups are and stuff. And anyway, he and I like it how he like awkwardly tries to reach out, and then he touches it, and then he's confident like, oh well, it's in the middle of this thing, so I'll reach here. But anyway, he so it turns out, yeah, I'm cheating, haha. The house always wins. Yous are fucked, and then they're like, alright, I'm just gonna kill yous all, and that's when the three of them decide to help each, like the team up. They don't say anything. They're just like, they're just logically like, yeah, we're gonna have to fucking, work together at this point. And so that's exactly what they do. And John Wick picks up a card. It's an ordinary card. It is an ordinary, like, gambling card, playing card. And he fucking, I shit you not, just grabs a hold of it and uses it like a blade and fucking cuts open Big Chungus's throat. It is so fucking stupid. I don't even know how. If that's the case, then card dealers are losing fingers on a daily basis in our world. Like, holy fuck. And then some guy is about to shoot John Wick because he cut the throat of Big Chungus. Big Chungus is still alive, by the way, but he cut the throat of Big Chungus. So it's like, and it's like a kind of like fucking deep gash as well. Like, he's cut deep in like it's a blade. And anyway, this guy's about to shoot John Wick for doing that, and John Wick just throws the card as if it's a throwing knife, and it like actually embeds itself in the guy, and the guy's out for the count, I believe. And then the fat guy's trying to run away, and John Wick shoots him in the arse, which he then like says before, you shot me in the arse or something like that. Shot me in the ass or whatever. And anyway, this fucking guy ends up doing like these like really high, like he is like flipping around this Chungus guy. He's flipping around and doing really high kicks and stuff, and it's like just so fucking stupid, like no way. And anyway, there's fighting, there's like just people dancing, not caring that there's all this bloodshed. Eventually they run away screaming, but I don't understand because basically it's been really intense before that. And anyway, John Wick fights the guy, and he's like chasing them, and there's like in fighting people, and then like there's water falling, and I think it's just like a feature where there's just water coming off the ceiling or something constantly in this little area, unless it's just like a shit ton of rain. But anyway, John Wick kills him and then punches out a tooth. Like, I don't think there's much for me to say about that. It's like a really fun fight. Like this booming music that John Wick's like known for, like techno music or whatever, while just like fighting. It's really good. He kills basically that guy looks like a fucking character that I make in Saints Row 4, like with the purple like fucking suit, and looking really fat. But anyway, he dies, and he fucking falls down the stairs and just like fucking smashes it. Oh, he like breaks his neck on the stairs, and then he just look at his face, and he like just has a dumb face on, like he just looks like he's like shit himself or something. Like he's obviously died with like surprise on his face, and anyway, so they go right. His family goes right. You're back in. You've got the tooth. You've revenged our father. So they do the whole ritual where they go, right, you're back in the family, you got your paper ticket or token back, whatever, and then Mr. Manager talks to Pennywise and goes, right, this is a scroll, like the fucking that scrolled up letter, like it's like fucking, like a fucking pirate map or something. Like it's like some like fucking Game of Thrones thing. Like it came by Raven. It's like they never open it. He just says what it says on it. So he could have said anything, and he does that because that isn't a part of it. Getting the hotel built wasn't a part of the rules that John Wick had said, and so because Pennywise just took his word for it and didn't read, that's he put that into the thing. But anyway, he's like, "Oh, by the way, if John Wick dies, that means you die as well, Mr. Manager." And first he's like this whole Pennywise guy's like, "Oh, rules are rules. You gotta stick by the rules." But then like he's like trying to back up, going, "I'm not fighting John Wick," and he goes, "Well, no." Master Manager goes, "Well, you have to, because that's the rules, and you stick by the rules, don't you?" And he's like, "Fuck." Basically, he's like, "Oh, right, fine," and they have this meeting with Mr. Krabs where they'll discuss. They could have just killed John Wick there, but it's like, right, we'll just have this meeting, and they have these like cards, and I guess it's like whoever has the highest points card that flips. So it's all these cards, and it's like you pick a random card, and that has a certain number on, and then he has a certain number on, John Wick, and it's whoever has the highest number, because Mr. Krabs goes, right, what weapons will you be using? And then Pennywise goes, knives, and he says blades, and he flips over the card, and it has a certain number on. John Wick says pistols, and he says pistols. He flips over the card, and he has like 29. He has a higher number, and 26, 29. Anyway, it has like a picture on it. All of them do. They're like very like, it's very interesting how, and I really like how they do that. I really like that scene. It's very interesting. And he says all the information. There's also like trailer lines in that as well in that scene. So like it's got really good lines because of course it has, because that's why they're in the trailer. In any way, so John Wick gets the blades. It's and anyway, so John Wick wants it now, the fight, and the guy's like saying, "Oh, tomorrow," and he says, I think he said, I think he said now, but he said at dawn, and John Wick said now, I think, and he goes and anyway, Pennywise wins that one, but it seems like John Wick wins all the other ones. He wins that like the fight will be in a certain location. It's in Paris, and anyway, just as it's over, like Mr. Krabs is like, right, this is over now. And then Pennywise goes, "No, I want a challenge." Like it's basically like Game of Thrones again. He wants a champion. Like he literally says that. And anyway, that's exactly what happens. He has a sponsor, and he picks a blind guy, and they're like, "Oh fuck." You later on see like the blind guy. As soon as John Wick leaves, he says, "I'm not fighting him. I'm not killing him." He's like, "You have to. Or your daughter's gonna die. But you know, if you do this, then you and your daughter's free. This is over." And he's like, "Great, I have to do this." And anyway, Mr. Manager meets John Wick, and also so does Morpheus. And he goes, "Right, this is like a scene from the trailer." He goes, "Here's your new suit." They're in Paris, and they're like, "Right, you realize that like." No, they're like, right, this is gonna be hard. You getting here, you know. You've got till dawn. And this is like the last bit of the movie where now John Wick has to. This is like a large part of the movie, but this is the whole thing of the movie now, where like this is like intense fighting for ages, but John Wick is like, they're like, right, I can get you on this boat to a certain part in Paris, but you've got to travel to this location by dawn. You've got to be there as soon as it's before dawn, and if you're not, then it's your forfeit. You're gonna die, and so is your number two, your sponsor, which is Mr. Manager, and you're fucked basically, and you don't get your freedom obviously because we're gonna kill you. And so then John anyway, they just expect it to happen, but Pennywise, like, I don't even know how this is allowed, because it's like they say that, like, oh, when somebody requests a 1v1, it's got to be respected. For the table rules, it has to be done. But then Pennywise makes it so, like, every assassin in Paris, like, hundreds and hundreds of people are trying to kill John Wick. Wouldn't that make it so that's him, like, trying to break the law of the table. By doing that, he's going against the table, because he's saying, oh no, I'm wanting to kill him before he even can do because I say that once somebody, like, puts a challenge, it has to be, when someone requests a challenge, a 1v1, it has to be respected, it has to be done. That is the rule. And Pennywise is kind of breaking the rule by getting people to try and kill him before it happens. So, like, he should be punished for that, but nothing happens and he dies with, like, yeah, so kind of breaks the whole rule. But anyway, so everybody's after John Wick, and this is a bit where John Wick gets fucking ran over, like, literally cars full speed hit him, like, about 15 times at least. He goes into a building and has a big fight. Bear in mind, Mr. Nobody's after him as well, and he goes into this building with him. But John Wick goes in this building, and it has this beautiful scene. It looks one shot, and it's like, you know, the game Hotline Miami. It is basically that, where it's like, obviously they don't have a roof on. In the reality of the movie it does, but, like, obviously they just have a camera following, and obviously in the reality of the movie, I mean, not that, but like, they basically have it so you're seeing John Wick go room to room, and the camera is just following him as he's just killing person after person in this building, and it is so beautiful. And like I said, I don't know if it is actually one shot, but it looks like it, and like it's been edited to look like that at least, and it's fucking the best action in the film. It's fucking beautiful. I love that scene. It is one, like, best action scene ever. It is absolutely gorgeous. And so anyway, John Wick does that, and anyway, the guy's there with his dog, and it's nobody, and he's like nearly kills John Wick, and then John Wick, like, has the opportunity to kill him, but then Pennywise's Pennywise's henchman, he's number two or whatever, is able to. He's about to shoot the dog, and then the Mr. Nobody doesn't even know this is about to happen. But John Wick sees it, and he decides to not kill. It's kind of like it's a weird decision, because Mr. Nobody doesn't have a weapon. There isn't a weapon near him, and he could easily just shoot the guy that's about to shoot the dog, and then shoot Mr. Nobody straight afterwards. but it's portrayed as like, oh, John Wick shoots the guy, and it makes him like fall down the stairs, and you think he's dead. I would thought, oh, that's him dead, but he's not. And then you'd think that's it, and that's it for that. Like he can shoot the guy, and then shoot Mr. Nobody, but Mr. Nobody, like the camera goes in his face and he's like shocked. He doesn't even know what just happened. He just can't see or hear that his dog just was nearly killed. He can't see that because it's out of view. It's no way he saw that. No way he saw his dog. And anyway, he's like shocked, and this is why he's like, oh, actually, for $40 million, I'm not even gonna kill John Wick anymore because he decided to save my dog because he loves dogs, so I'm not gonna kill him anymore. And I'm like, for fuck's sake, I hated that scene. It's so fucking stupid. Again, he can't see him. He can't see what. Oh, he shot somebody, but he couldn't see that it was for the dog. Ugh. And then why didn't John Wick shoot the fucking guy? He just is like, no, I'm not going to shoot you because I like you for some reason, even though everybody's been trying to kill us and being a wacky character. But fuck it. John Wick then is like trying to leave, and somebody fucking push. Oh, bear in mind, Mr. Nobody is in this location with John Wick at this point, lying on the floor, because he pushed John Wick up, like to a point where he fell down a hole together and landed on the bottom, like on a floor underneath. So like fell a fucking story, like the like, and it's like holy shit, and it's like they just get up, and then like John Wick then falls out of a window after rescuing a dog and lands, like falls like at least 4 stories, and lands on a fucking car and crushes the roof like he's fucking Batman. And he just gets up and then gets hit by like 15 cars or something. And it's so fucking stupid. And anyway, like, and then like, even when he's in a car, he gets in a car or he gets in a motorbike and stuff like that, he's still getting hit, he's getting shot, and he's like, he's been hit like by 15 cars, man, and he's just like invincible, and he's just like, you see a little limp sometimes, but that's fucking hilarious that he's got a limp after getting hit by that many cars, like full speed. And so anyway, and he just does the same motion where he just ends up on the front of the car, like on the front mirror, and then front window, and then he just falls off the car. So anyway, but if anybody else got hit like that, they just immediately die. But him, he's just like fucking invincible when he gets hit. Like everybody else that gets the same damage dies, but him with the same damage, no. Anyway, he gets these steps, and then this woman that's in the Eiffel Tower is like, oh, because that's been keep going back. It's got like this like weird like nose ring, and she's like, all right, if you like, he's got to get up the stairs. He's at the stairs now. He gets up the stairs. That's it. He's made it, and you just got to stop him to get this money, basically. And so all these guys show up the stairs, and you see it's like stairs where it's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of steps. It's like a very large like hill. It's like one of those like sets of stairs where it's like, you got like, I don't know, like 50 steps, and then there's a flat bit, and then there's more steps, and then a flat bit, then more steps, and a flat bit, and this goes on like. I wanted to laugh because it looked exactly like and I know it's in New York. It's meant to be in New York or something, or no, it's in Gotham, isn't it? Or I can't remember where Joker's set, but it looks like it looks like the steps where Joker danced. I just wanted John Wick to do the Joker dance. But anyway, that happens. Not the dance, but he like where he has to go up the stairs, and he's going up the stairs fighting hundreds of guys on his own. He's not behind cover. He just does the same like motion over and over again, shooting all these guys, and like John Wick's basically at the top of the stairs, And the number two of Pennywise, like the henchman that like tried to kill the dog, he just appears out of nowhere and he kicks John Wick down the stairs. And this is when I absolutely lost my shit and I was in hysterics. A lot of the audience laughed, but obviously I laughed the fucking loudest, but a lot of the audience laughed at this because it was fucking ridiculous. It's like almost like it was like a Family Guy. It was like a Family Guy joke. He like falls down, right? So John Wick like falls down steps and like he keeps on like slowing down. Like you think, right? He's on the flat bit. He's gonna stop. But no, he just ends up like continuing the roll, and he's rolling down all these steps, just like proper plummeting, like fucking smashing his whole body against these steps, like hundreds and hundreds of steps, going down and down. And then you think, all right, he's done. He's slowed down, and then like he's on the flat bit, and then he like just like you just see him like tip over, and he starts rolling down more and more and more steps, and he's just rolling and rolling and rolling down all these fucking steps, and it's absolutely hilarious. And then you're right, he stops, he's done, and then this henchman somehow has made it down to him in time, and he starts fighting John Wick. And then, like, he knocks John Wick down more steps. And it goes on again where he's falling down more steps. And that goes on, like, there's literally, like, a 2-minute scene of John Wick just slowly falling down steps. At least a minute. 2 minutes is probably an exaggeration. But it felt like that. It was so fucking funny where he just continuously fell down steps. And guess what? He just got up and he was fine again. He started fucking doing like proper like karate moves and stuff. And it was so fucking stupid. But anyway, Blind Man shows up and I'm like, where's the fucking henchman? Why isn't he following him down again? And Blind Man shows up and he's like, yeah, you've got to come up. You've got to get up, and I need you up those stairs because if you don't, I can get my freedom, and my daughter can get her freedom if you fight me. And so anyway, they help each other. They fight together. John Wick's fucking fine after like falling down hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of steps. They fight like, and I was gonna laugh me head off because he started fighting the henchman again, and looked like John Wick nearly fell down more steps. Like he got so close. He actually got knocked down a couple of steps. I think he did actually get knocked down some more steps. And I was just fucking wanting to burst out laughing again. It's like, why does people keep on making him roll down hundreds of steps, man? He's just falling constantly. Please, someone do an edit of John Wick just never stop. Do one of those things where it's just like edited where it looks like he's just falling down forever. And like maybe sometimes it looks like he stopped, but then he just continues again. That'll be a fucking hilarious meme. I really hope someone makes that. And there's another meme I would love someone to make, but I can't think of it now. But anyway, so like, anyway, the henchman's like, you can't kill me to the blind man. You can't hit me, and you can't kill me. Because like he's about to kill John Wick and he like stopped and the blind man has a gun on him and he's like, you can't kill me, and he's like, no, but I can hit you, and he like slices him up. That's not a fucking hit, but he does hit him at one point. But anyway, he does hit him first, I think, but he's like slices him, and then the No Mr. Nobody shows up and fucking rips the guy's balls off. And he says, and then he shoots him in the head. His fucking rifle is fucking awesome, by the way. I love that rifle. It's so cool that he uses in the movie, Mr. Nobody. But then his dog pisses on the guy's face, and everybody laughed at that, and we had it as well. Anyway, so finally, it said they only had 3 minutes to dawn, and for some reason that scene that lasted more than 3 minutes, as apparently was only 3 minutes in the universe, because actually they made it within some time. But anyway, so it must have been like 2 minutes and 30 seconds at least, that whole fight, which nope, it lasted longer than that. But anyway, So they make it to this fight, and then like, right, you have to take 20, you have to take 30 paces with rifles, and it's very funny because I'm a little autism, and so I counted how many steps John Wick does. He's meant to do 30. They're both meant to do 30 steps. I counted. John Wick did 22. Not even fucking close. And even when they did a cut, but like I still continued. And when it was focusing on the blind guy, you could still see John Wick doing the steps in the background. And yeah, you only did 22 steps. So where the fuck is that missing 8 steps? But anyway, that was very weird. That was very bad. I know that's just nitpicking, but yeah, John Wick cheated. He didn't do 8 of the steps he was meant to do. But anyway, they shoot each other. They hit each other in the with they have it's just a single bullet thing. And then have to make 20 paces apart. We say 20 paces, but it's like really it's like you've got to make 10 paces to that 20 spot because it's 30 paces. So every time you shoot each other and you don't kill each other, you've got to make the next steps. Anyway, John Wick doesn't shoot when they make it the 10 steps and they're like bleeding and they're very injured and stuff. They're basically both fucked at this point. And actually, he's shot in the gut, the blind guy in the second one, but he's fucking fine. Bear in mind, John Wick apparently dies with getting shot in the gut, but whatever. John Wick is anyway. John Wick and they can make it right. That's 30 steps to shoot. They get the 20 steps to shoot, and then finally they're just 10 steps apart. And the shoot, and John Wick's on the floor. He didn't shoot, by the way. He very obviously didn't shoot. And then Pennywise is like, right, yeah. Oh, by the way, Pennywise says on the 30 stop mark, he goes, "Remember, your family is fucked if you don't do this." And the guy just immediately goes, "Fuck off!" And everybody laughed at that. And anyway, John Wick. So John Wick's on the floor after the 10 steps thing, and John Wick's on the floor and he's hiding his gun and stuff. You know he hasn't fucking shot, and Pennywise like, "Give us your gun," and he's like, "Well, have you to blind guy?" And he goes, "Well, is my family free?" And he's like, "Yeah, your family's free. You're free, your daughter's free, you have your freedom, it's over." And he's like, "I want the gun, I want to make that final shot, I want to be known as the man." They established this later on, he wants to be known as the man that kills John Wick, because it's like, that's the name, that's a legend. He wants to kill, like, because like, he wants to make John Wick just into a man, but you know, John Wick's still because like he's been killing for like 4 movies now. He's just been killing hundreds and hundreds of people, and it's like if John Wick finally dies, it's like, yeah, the legend of John Wick is gone, and he wants to take that legend, and he's like, right, I'm gonna kill John Wick then, and then Mr. Manager goes, "You pretentious fool! You arrogant! You fucking stupid idiot!" He hasn't shot, and then Pennywise looks scared, and then he doesn't react. He doesn't immediately shoot, even though I'm sure he had the gun aimed on him. But John Wick like just immediately shoots the guy on the head, and then Mr. Krabs goes, "Right, you win, hee hee," and he says, "Right, John Wick, you've got your freedom, Mr. Manager. You're gonna get you're no longer you're no longer exiled. We're gonna rebuild your fucking hotel at our expense. Everything is sorted now. Everybody's got their freedom. Goodbye. I'm gonna go now make some Krabby Patties." And he literally says that. I'm definitely not taking the piss at that Krabby Patty bit. But anyway, he then And then John Wick oh, by the way, certain part in the movie, John Wick, just before all this fighting, when they were still on the boat, John Wick says, um, they say that like the concierge had a friend put on his thing because he said, how can you put someone's whole life in those few words on a tombstone? And John Wick says, well, what did you end up putting on? And he says, friend. And I was like, that's okay, I guess. I mean, yeah. And then he says, do you know if I die? John Wick says, if I die, I want to put a loving husband on, please. And they'll both respect that, Morpheus and yeah. Anyway, and Mr. Manager. And anyway, so John Wick is on the steps and he's like, and he lumps over and he's dead. You then go to, bear in mind I haven't mentioned the scene where it goes to Morpheus and Mr. Manager early on in the movie, and him going like, oh, you're not Lila John Wick, I am, and all this stuff. And anyway, they're both at the funeral at the end of the film. Not at the funeral. It's just like a tomb. It's just John, and he's buried. Just as John Wick died, he said his wife's name, and then John Wick is on the floor, and so he's dead. He's dead. He's buried, and you see they both have like on the tombstone. It's just simply loving wife, and on his it's loving husband. And in Russian, in Russian, the manager, once Morpheus leaves, says he's I can't remember what he says now, but I know I can't remember. He says like farewell, my son, or something. So like he really respected John Wick and he saw him like a son, which it was very nice. It was a nice touch. And then I believe that's the end of the film. I don't think there's anything else after that. He's buried. And there's end credit scene I obviously didn't see. But yeah, that is the film. And the film is very dumb. As in, like, fucking John Wick should have been dead 100 times. He got run over many, many times. He fell down. Dad fucking falling down the steps was hilarious. It is like a very dumb action movie. It's like the fighting is, it's very dumb and very smart at the same time. It's very like the fucking main character is invincible until he's not. People are invincible until they're not. It's very clever as well though. It's such a fucking weird movie. As in, it's very clever and very dumb exactly at the same time. I absolutely adore it. This is the best action I've ever seen. I love Bullet Train, but this kind of puts Bullet Train, this is like, this just puts it to shame. It is such a good movie. Honestly, it is very dumb though. It is very stupid. And, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Again, like, John Wick is meant to be an ordinary man. Like, as in, like, he doesn't have superpowers yet. Holy fucking shit. It is so stupid, but I adore it. Honestly, I don't know what in an objective scale, but in subjective, just on feelings, this film is like a fucking 8 or 9 out of 10. Way better than Shazam. I adored Puss in Boots, which I would give like a 10 out of 10 Puss in Boots, I think. But, which those videos will be made eventually. I was going to make them just back to back, but I have made a nearly 1 hour and 20-minute video of me talking about this film. I could talk about more, But I did, if you noticed, I was in more detail at the start, and then I've kind of like tried to skip some because like this is a very long video. I could have talked about more. Originally this was gonna be like a whole live stream where I was gonna game while talking about all four movies. That would have easily been like several hours of me gaming while talking about these movies. I don't think I'm gonna make any more of these videos today, which doesn't matter because I would probably space them out anyway. But this video, it's hopefully I'm probably gonna upload it the same day I've made it, and then throughout the next week or whatever, hopefully you'll be seeing a review on Shazam 2, Puss in Boots, and Cocaine Bear. I need to make the Cocaine Bear and Puss in Boots one quickly because it's been over 2 weeks since I watched that, and then it was a week ago when I watched Shazam 2, and I forgot a lot of that movie the same day I watched it. So, I was forgetting stuff about it just after the film, probably as I was watching it. It's so fucking bad. But anyway, John Wick 4 is the best in this franchise. It's the best in the series. It is, and I don't even think it's the end, even though he's buried. But it is such a good, entertaining movie, and I recommend it to everybody. I'm really glad this movie is successful because it means that there's got to be another. There's got to be another one, and I don't know. Like, it'd be nice for the actually have a conclusion, which this is a conclusion, but it's very clearly opening up, as end credit scene shows. There's spin-offs. They're probably going to go in the spin-off route. There's already going to be a spin-off of the ballerina. Where as far as I know, it's just gonna be like John Wick, but with a female, a woman. So I'm gonna just say with a female. It's gonna be a woman led John Wick, which sounds really exciting. I know the actress, and she's a really good actress. So it's gonna be a fun movie. And then so I'm looking for that, and then it seems like we'll have another revenge type movie because it'll probably be the Japanese manager's daughter, versus the blind man. Maybe if we're gonna get that, at least there was opening for that, or maybe that'll be in John Wick 5. But it will. I have a feeling that John Wick 5 might kind of be like his family, or like, yeah, we need you to do something for us, and he's like stuck doing that. I can see it doing kind of like that, because he's finally like done with the table, he's free from them, so he's out of the assassin game, but like there's still like the underbelly that he could be stuck in. We'll see what happens, but anyway, the film was great. I'm excited for more. See, the story isn't really relevant, is it? It's like, I mean, it's good that they give you story because I do love a good story, but you're there for like good action, and it took a while for the proper fighting to start. But when it happened, it was just like fighting. It was just like scenes upon scenes of like barely any breaks. There was no like, oh, I'm gonna talk for a bit, and like, even the talking was really interesting as well. Like, this film wasn't boring. I was incredibly bored in Shazam 2. I got bored in scenes in Cocaine Bear, but this is like... I was actually starting to worry if, like, I just didn't have... Because it's been a long time since I've been in the cinema until this month, because I've been very unwell. And I was just worried if I just don't have the attention span for movies anymore, because I don't watch as many movies anymore. I watch TV, but it's like I can just like, I don't know. I just think that like, oh, maybe, I'm absolutely love filmmaking. I'm really passionate for that. I was like worried that I was, just maybe I just don't have the attention span for it anymore. With my mental health, I just can't like focus on it anymore, and I was getting very concerned. But no, I fucking adore this film. This film is like nearly 3 hours, isn't it? and I absolutely adored it. It's the films we'll get these days. That's the problem. But anyway, if I have anything else to say, I'll probably say it in live streams when I'm gaming, because I will eventually do some live streams. But I've explained the plot and said my opinions on the plot as we went along. It's been a very long video, so thank you for watching. Again, I'll probably expand and see anything that I think of that I've missed will just be in live streams and stuff. So yeah, if you want more, if you want me to talk about a certain scene, just ask. Or what did you think about this scene? Or what do you think about this movie? Or what do you think about the previous film? Or what do you think about this thing? Or this information? Or just say what you thought about certain scenes. Did you laugh at him falling, John Wick falling down 40 million steps? Did you laugh at all? Did you hate it? Tell me in the comments, or tell me in my live stream. But anyway, it's been a pleasure talking about this film. It's great to see it's really honestly refreshing to see like a really good, like really entertaining, really lovable movie out, because we'll get a lot of shit these days. Like Shazam and fucking Ant-Man, all this shit. So I'm really happy we got this movie. So this has been a very long video, but thank you for watching and goodbye.